Okay. Going? Okay. Well, good morning, everyone. The community spirit is certainly alive and very strong here in Logan. Today, we celebrate the 4th annual Police and Emergency Service Santa Toy Run. This is a huge event. We've got emergency services, police, volunteers, councillors, members of parliament, community organisations, people from the hospital, people from business, people from the community generally coming together to support kids in the Logan area. This is one of the biggest toy runs in Australia, and I pay tribute to community organisations like the Logan House Fire Support Network, and I've got Louis here. This is an amazing event that brings a smile to the faces of children every year, and I've got to give credit to Stephen from Queensland Fire and Emergency Services, who helped start this 4 years ago. It is a combination of the Fire and Rescue Service, the SES, the Rural Fire Service, the Police, the Ambulance Service and Queensland Health, all coming together to collect toys and then distribute them to children in the Logan area, particularly children at the Logan Hospital. This is a great event, and it just reminds us that we've got good people in our community, we've got humanity in our community, and Christmas is a perfect example. Christmas here in Logan is a perfect example of how strong that community is in our great state. Louis, would you like to say some things?
Sure. Good morning, everybody. Look, thank you, Minister. As Minister Ryan just said, this is our 4th annual Logan Emergency Services Santa Run. Look, it's all about bringing joy to the children of Logan, making sure we bring them happiness on Christmas morning, throwing lollies out to all the boys and girls lining the streets with the convoy of emergency vehicles going around the streets of Logan to our end destination of the Children's Hospital to make sure that we look after those sick children that are in the hospital there. So it's a collective effort by all emergency services here, fire, police, ambulance, SES, cadets, the lot. So we appreciate everyone, what everyone does, and yeah, it's getting bigger and better, and we enjoy it. Thank you.
Thank you. This week's been particularly hard. Tomorrow's funeral will be a chance for everybody to come together to pay a tribute to those 2 fallen officers.
Yeah, it's been a tough week for the Queensland Police Service, but actually a tough week for the community, and we've seen some overwhelming support from the community for the Queensland Police Service this week. I don't think there is a single police station that hasn't had a truckload of flowers delivered to it. And can I say to the people of Queensland, police officers have asked me to pass on to you their gratitude for that show of support. It's been overwhelming for them. It's been a tough week, but they've very much appreciated the show of support. And obviously tomorrow we're expecting a very big crowd at the Brisbane Entertainment Centre for the full police honours service for Matt and Rachel, as well as also expecting many thousands to tune in to the live stream.
Are you expecting road closures around the city?
Look, those particular details are being worked through. I imagine around the Brisbane Entertainment Centre there may need to be some traffic control given the volume of people. But wherever there might be some traffic impacts, I ask people to be patient and remind them that it is for a very sombre and good purpose, and that is to remember and honour 2 heroes of our great state.
Do you know, will there be extra public transport services or any sort of buses being put on to get people to the service?
Again, those operational details are being worked through, and all the information will be provided by the police service over the next day. That's correct. Yeah, well, I don't want to comment on the accuracy or otherwise of your statement. It is a full investigation. The matters are before the coroner. The Commissioner has been very clear that there will be a very thorough investigation, and the coroner will look at all aspects of this matter. Look, again, I don't want to comment on the accuracy or otherwise of your statement. There'll be a full investigation. The matter's before the coroner. Oh, Look, these are aspects which are being investigated, but I note that the Commissioner addressed this last week. This is a matter which is not uncommon in regional areas where officers from multiple stations will attend a particular police activity. The Commissioner said that publicly last week.
Have you spoken to officers on the Western Downs? How they feel?
Yeah, I have spoken to them, and all of them are devastated by obviously last week's tragedy, but they've also come together in solidarity. So last week I spoke with officers not only from those local stations, but officers from stations like Warwick and Ipswich and Dalby, who have actually come in to Chinchilla and Tara to support the officers in town and to ensure continuity of police service delivery in those areas. All of them impacted, but all of them coming together to support one another.
Just in relation to the property, the police union wants to purchase the property, or has put forward the idea. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I spoke with the police union last week about this. I'm very supportive of that. In my view, that ground is now sacred ground. That is where the lives of two heroes of Queensland were taken. And I can think of no better way than to preserve that forever, than to have a process around how that block might be owned by the government or the police union. So we're going to have those conversations, but I think it's a very good idea, and it's an important way for us to honour those two heroes of Queensland.
What about the idea of it being a training ground? What do you think of that for police officers?
Look, these are things that we'll work through. Obviously, the police union have put up a number of ideas. That's just one idea around the use of the land. At the very least, I think there should be an opportunity for there to be a memorial and reflection space to honour those great heroes of Queensland.
Sorry, could you just say that again, just because of the silence?
Yeah, no problem. So obviously that's one idea that's been put forward. That's one idea that's been put forward by the police union. At the very least, I think it should be also incorporating a memorial, a sacred space to honour those heroes of Queensland. About what? Oh, sorry. Oh.
Just will the actions taken against two of the nurses over separate incidents before the hospital reviews undertaken? If no harm was done, why were they disclosed?
Well, that's detail which I, as Police Minister, haven't been briefed on, but I'm sure if you make those inquiries with Queensland Health, they'll be able to provide you some information. But I have been advised that the independent investigation's been completed, and not only has it found that the allegations weren't substantiated, but that there was no evidence at all. So this is, again, another example of David Crisafulli and the LNP making things up. Making things up. They're full of it, really. They're making it up. And they make all sorts of allegations. They call health workers in regional areas duds. They make up things about laptops. They make up things about police numbers. But yet again, they've got egg on their face for making things up about the Bundaberg Hospital. The independent investigation has found not only no substance to the allegation, but no evidence at all.
Today, the LNP's dropped a bunch of documents showing blowouts with ambulance station costs.
Yes.
Has that been up to?
Well, look, they're obviously not in touch with their communities. There is every sector of our economy, every sector of our community is impacted by supply chain challenges at the moment. And if you were in touch with your community, you would know that even if you went down to buy a new shed today, you'd probably find that you'd have some feedback from the shop owners saying that there are supply chain issues, that there are cost pressures. These are things that are not unique to Queensland. They're nationwide, they're global. Obviously, the government is committed to delivering on its election commitments. The advice I've got is our election commitments will be delivered. They'll be delivered this term.
Has the government looked any further at the ambulance station and the fire station that might have to be moved around Griffin, Bracken Ridge to make way for that highway expansion?
I can talk to you about the fire station aspect, and yes, the fire service is working with Main Roads as well as other government agencies about relocating that station. Obviously, it's required to be relocated because of the decision by the federal government to provide the money to expand the highway, which we're grateful for, obviously. So we're working through processes around identifying an appropriate block of land. Then, of course, we'll commit to the construction of that new fire station.
Do you think the federal government should chip in on that?
It's my understanding that that's part of the project costs. So obviously the project costs are shared in accordance with the current arrangements with the federal government.
Could be quite a few million though, couldn't it?
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. Infrastructure like that is important, critical infrastructure, and it's built for many decades. So we want to make sure we do the job right, and when the job's right, it is obviously a significant investment in community safety, but that ensures our firefighters have the appropriate facility to do their work.
And look,
Sorry, I didn't hear you properly.
It's to do with ramping stats. In September, on average, ambulances were waiting about an hour to drop patients off. That's appropriate that there were about 3,000 less call-outs in that one.
Oh, well, this is not a challenge unique to Queensland, it's a challenge all around the nation. We know that health systems are under pressure. The advice I've got is the most urgent of jobs, once presented at hospital, are seen very quickly. But obviously there are system pressures, and that is a pressure across the nation, and that is why the government has committed billions of dollars to extra hospital capacity and many millions of dollars extra for ambulance capacity, including new stations, new paramedics, new ambulances.
If the call-outs continue to drop, why is ramping still an issue?
Well, the system is under pressure, and it's under pressure because of still impacts from COVID. Like today, I'm advised that there are, hundreds of health staff who are away from work because they have COVID. That has an impact. That is not an impact unique to Queensland; it's an impact across the nation. So there are challenges in the health system. That's why the government's investing in more resources, more personnel, and more facilities.
just because it was a bit noisy before, do you mind if I just ask you again about the logistics for tomorrow's service? Is it going to be a big affair? Will there be road closures and things like that?
It will be a big affair, and look, people need to be informed around what's happening in their local area. There may well be traffic impacts, obviously particularly around the Brisbane Entertainment Centre and other of the outside broadcast areas across the state. So I ask people to be patient, but also remind them that this is about honouring two great heroes of Queensland, and obviously it's a very sombre time for not only police but our entire community.
Minister, were you briefed about Nathaniel Train's water breach in December 2021 where he dumped wood and guns?
So I've received a number of briefings in the last week, but in particular around any specific matter of the investigation, I can't comment publicly. That's the subject of a thorough investigation, and those matters will be brought before the coroner for thorough consideration.
But, I mean, why does it impress me that you can't just say whether you've been briefed or something?
Well, because there's processes to go through. There's processes to go around the investigation. All of the facts have to be ascertained. I can't comment on the accuracy or otherwise of the proposition you just put to me around the detail there, because the facts need to be confirmed, and that is the process that a thorough investigation undergoes, and that is why a thorough consideration by the coroner is important to ascertain the facts.
There normally be 4 people sent to a missing persons inquiry. That's usually
Yeah, that's very similar to the question you asked just before, and I'll give you a similar answer. The Commissioner addressed this matter last week. It is not unusual for multiple officers from multiple stations to attend policing activities in rural and regional Queensland. That's a usual thing. The Commissioner said that publicly.
Were the police who attended aware of the water breach by Nathaniel Train?
Look, I've addressed these matters. I'm not going to comment on the accuracy or otherwise of what you've said. The matter is before the coroner. It's subject to a full investigation. But the Commissioner also said publicly last week that she believed that all of the appropriate risk assessments were done before the policing activity took place last week.
Thanks, Minister.
Okay, thank you.